We spend more time with the things inside of our bags and pockets than we do with anything else. So I thought it would be a good time to show you what I'm planning to carry around with me for the coming year. So starting off with my laptop, which is this 2022 Razer Blade 14, it is absolutely terrible for fingerprints and battery life. I genuinely kind of regret getting this laptop, but unfortunately I need a Windows PC for rendering all of my architectural models. And it just so happens that Razer seem to have the most minimal and clean looking Windows laptops around, apart from their absolutely horrendous logo, which I have covered up with this little Union Jack badge. I do like this for the fact that it means I can represent the UK a little bit here in Canada, but the main reason I have this on here is because it's Velcro. So what this means is that I can peel this off and then fix my solid state drive enclosure right onto the back, which means when I'm working from a cafe or doing any other kind of remote work, I can really cleanly have all of my files right on my laptop, which I can then transfer to my main PC really easily. When working from a laptop, you are restricted with a really small screen and pretty terrible ergonomics. Now, some people use laptop stands to resolve this with wireless keyboards, but this means that your laptop keyboard is often made entirely redundant. So I've come up with what I think is an absolutely phenomenal solution, which is with this monitor. Now, despite this looking like just almost any other monitor, the incredible thing about this is that you can take it off its stand. And what that leaves you with is something that you can put inside of a backpack. So I managed to find this monitor on Amazon from a company called UPerfect for a really affordable price. And it's incredible because I think it has an 120 Hz display and it covers 99% of the DCI P3 color gamut. But what's amazing about this is that it runs entirely off one cable. Now, most people will have these sitting on their desk right next to their laptop, which, as you can see, takes up a bunch of space. So what I realized is that actually you can fit a VESA mount adapter to the back of these and a camera quick release plate, which means that you can quickly take them on and off whatever stands you're using. So when you're at home, you can have it on a permanent stand like this mic stand, which looks incredibly clean for an at-home solution. But then when you need to go out, you can simply take it off and then bring a tripod around with you. And what this means is that when you have your mini tripod set up like this, you can set it down and then stick your monitor right on. So what I've done is use these little USB-C right angle and 180 degree adapters to make this super clean. And as you can see, this takes up barely any space on a desk and gives you tons of screen real estate for productivity. So I think it's insane that I can actually bring a pretty capable at-home setup in a backpack. And then on top of this, I just have my Logitech Anywhere 3S mouse, which is crucial because it can track on glossy surfaces like glass. So because you never know where you're going to end up, having something with this kind of tracking capability is crucial. Now, the other thing that I keep inside my bag is my iPad mini and Apple Pencil, which I also got earlier this year. So on top of this, I have this case from JetTech, which does a pretty decent job of keeping it safe without looking all that bad. And then on top of it, I have a screen protector from Zoiga, which has this paper-like texture, which allows me to sketch a lot more fluidly than without it. What I do like about the iPad mini is that it really nicely bridges the gap between a phone and a laptop. So I'm still able to quickly sketch diagrams and plans on here, but I can also really easily use it one-handed. So seeing as I prefer to use 3D models rather than draw presentation sketches, this saves me a bunch of weight and it allows me to do things like read with it in bed, which as an avid Kindle user, this is something that has completely made that device now redundant. Now, moving on to the items that I carry with me inside of my pockets, I have recently upgraded to the iPhone 15 Pro Max in natural titanium. Now, I've mentioned before that I don't really purchase phones for the phone function, as honestly, I just think that they're more distracting than useful. But the main reason I have this is because the cameras on these things are absolutely insane. And this is the year that they finally, thanks to the European Union, upgraded to USB-C. Which means that I can now record all the video I want to from here and get it off incredibly quickly, and even record to an external SSD. Now, from an aesthetic perspective, I had to go for the raw natural titanium, which I think looks absolutely stunning. And I definitely think that the lightness that titanium provides is a really nice touch. So of course you now have the action button, which I have mapped to the Blackmagic camera app, which allows me to have complete control of all of my video settings. And in that app, you can record now in Apple Log and with 422 color. And the quality I'm getting out of this is so good, I even used it in my last video and I don't think you could even notice. And for architecture, this is especially useful with the wide angle lens. And now you also have the 5x zoom for taking really close up images, which is really handy. And if I'm honest with you, a phone like this easily replaces a lot of compact cameras, and I could see myself easily running my entire YouTube channel off this thing, which when compared to the price of the cameras that I use, makes this an absolute bargain. So I'm not quite brave enough to use this thing caseless, so the case I have been using is this case from Taurus, which is also the brand that I used on my last iPhone, as I think that they provide the best build quality out there for this style of case. And I really like that they have the integrated buttons rather than cutouts, which you find on a lot of cheaper cases. And it has this really nice matte finish, which complements the matte finish of the phone itself, although I do wish that they did this in grey so that it would match the natural titanium of the phone. But together I still think it looks rather good, and I found the MagSafe on this phone to be even stronger than what comes with the phone itself. Then for my wallet, I've complemented this with this new wallet from PopSocket, which is also really strong, and as you can see, this thing is not going anywhere. And what I like about this is that it can hold pretty easily up to 5 cards, and it's incredibly minimal too, so it's not really all that distracting from the back of the phone itself as well. And then because it's got this little fabric cutout at the bottom, it means that you can quickly access all your cards pretty easily too. However, my only gripe with this is that the magnet which aligns the MagSafe isn't really all that strong. So when I do put this on, it often means that I end up putting it on a little bit wonky. But other than that, it's really strong and it looks really good too. And this is the best one that I've come across so far. Then along with my iPhone, I've also recently upgraded to the Apple Watch Ultra 2. Now this Apple Watch Ultra 2 doesn't really have that many upgrades from the Apple Watch Ultra 1, apart from it being a little bit brighter, having slightly longer battery life, and it having the new feature of double tap, which I found to be quite useful on a few occasions, especially when taking calls, when doing things like handling raw food, or when carrying a child. However, the main reason that I chose this was for the upgraded battery life, which I think is really underrated, as I cannot stand having devices running out on me, especially when they are on my wrist. So even when using this device is always on display, it means that I can leave this on my wrist for almost 3 days without it needing a charge. And as I use this as a sleep tracker too, this is really important, as I want to be able to leave this on at night and not have to worry about it running out halfway. Now, another reason I went for the Ultra rather than the Series 9 is for the durability, as of course this comes with a titanium case and sapphire crystal glass. So as Apple Watches are quite expensive and they're things which live on your wrist, they aren't really things that I wanted to use a case with. And then also, because this has a bigger screen, this works really well as a camera monitor too when using it with my phone. So if I want to use the rear camera to film myself, I can monitor my positioning within the frame on my watch face. As you can see, I've also swapped out the band for this titanium band, which I found on Amazon for a really surprisingly good price. And I also find it a lot easier to put on and take off than the original straps too. I will say that up close it doesn't quite match the watch casing itself, and it does seem to mark a little bit easier. But these are things that you can only really notice when you're really right up there looking at it. And I really like the strap, as it also looks a lot more at home in a professional setting too. And then finally for my earbuds, I'm still using the Nothing Ear ones. So far they've been okay. I have to say that the battery life is phenomenal, and I honestly think I can count on my hands the amount of times I've actually charged these, which is kind of crazy to think about. But I mainly use these in the gym, while working at cafes, or when using transit. And my major gripe that I have with them is that they will sometimes often drop out or lose connection just momentarily, which is really frustrating. And then I've also found the touch controls to be glitchy as well when trying to change tracks too. So I suppose this was a little bit naive of me to expect that this wouldn't happen with a relatively new company. But I do just love this design, and they do come in at a relatively nice price point as well. Now, my last thing to show you guys is my keys. So this year I've done away with key organizers, as I've just found them to be a little bit too impractical to get keys in and out of. But what I have added to this keychain is an AirTag and this little pill container. Now, the reason I have this on here is because I'm trying to take my health a lot more seriously, and I have something called reactive hypoglycemia, which is when you eat something that's a little bit sugary, like a sandwich or a burger or fries, and then your blood sugar spikes, but then crashes, which is due to an insulin response. And what this means is that I often end up really shaky, irritable, and trembly, and I just feel altogether terrible. So because this is due to my body reacting to sugary foods that I've eaten, I found that if I supplement with acetic acid, which is found in apple cider vinegar, I can drastically reduce these blood sugar spikes. So what I do is carry around little apple cider vinegar capsules inside of here, and it means that if I ever do get tempted to eat something sugary while I'm out and about, like ice cream or a burger or pizza, I can quickly knock one of these back, and it will mean that I won't have quite so bad of a crash after. And I really like that I can take it in capsule form, as it saves my teeth and my taste buds as well. And on the topic of health, another thing that I'm also carrying with me in my bag at all times is a water bottle. Now, this one that I'm using is from Rhino Shield, and the reason I like this is because it is MagSafe compatible. Now, this might seem like a little bit of a gimmick, but I found this to be incredibly useful because I'm often taking video calls with my family back in the UK. And because I don't have a tripod to hand a lot of the time, and it's really annoying having to stand my phone in positions on a table, what this allows me to do is attach my phone like that, and even when it's empty, it holds really well. And so this brings my camera up to eye level and allows me to more comfortably talk to my friends and family. And I can also see this being really useful if you're in a car which doesn't have a phone holder, as you can simply slot this in the cup holder and use it for navigation, or when simply working at a desk or at a cafe, as you can just have it at eye level, which is great. And of course, it also just works really nicely as a little carrying hook when you're out and about. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!